of this country have got to wake up. It is long overdue, and those who are still sleepwalking through our country have got to start setting their alarm bells and waking up. Now, the weekend just gone, which saw yet again more pro-Palestine marches across our capital city, also saw a known extremist group who openly called for jihad in our capital. Yes, that is correct. A known Islamist extremist group called for jihad in our capital, chanting jihad in our capital. Now, this has happened before in this country. I'm sure that many of us remember the awful times between around 2010 and 2015 when we were struggling with Islamic terrorism in this country. The awful events that happened in this country, such as the killing of Lee Rigby, the 7/7 bombings, when this country was on high alert of a terrorist threat. But never before, or that I recall, did the police in this country openly deny the threat that we were experiencing. And yet, after we have just witnessed scenes of these extremists standing in our capital calling for jihad, we've had this response from the London Metropolitan Police. The word has a number of meanings, but we know the public will most commonly associate it with terrorism. Specialist officers have assessed the video and have not identified any offences arising from the specific clip. We have also sought advice from specialist Crown Prosecution Service lawyers who have reached the same conclusion. However, recognising the way language like this will be interpreted by the public and the divisive impact it will have, officers identified the man involved and spoke to him to discourage any repeat of similar chanting. Well, there you go. There you go. So we have open calls for jihad on our streets. Now, unless you live under a rock, you will know what jihad is. You will know exactly what it means. It is the struggle or the strife against the enemies of Islam. It happens to have been chanted during the Israel and Palestine conflicts. It happens to have been chanted during pro-Palestine marches, where we have actually seen footage of people in these marches openly supporting terrorists, openly chanting anti-Semitic chants. And here we have the London Met turning round to the wider public and saying they don't see anything wrong with this. They tell us that there are varying interpretations, and yet we have seen plenty of evidence, particularly over the last 10, 15 years, exactly what happens when they declare jihad. And what are the police going to do? Oh, they're going to go and approach the one chanting jihad, give him a bit of a slap on the wrist and say, there, you don't want to do anything like that because look how it can be interpreted. You don't want people thinking that they're in danger now. Now, off you go. Little bit of a warning, little bit of a slap on the wrist. This is the state of the London Metropolitan Police today in our country. This is what has happened to this country. Now, rightly so, if you go onto this statement on Twitter, you can see the outrage of people pouring in, saying they absolutely cannot believe that the London Met have released this unbelievable statement. However, it gets worse. Now, Downing Street was approached and asked, do they have any plans to draft up laws in order to ensure that this type of obvious call to jihad is dealt with effectively by the police? And what was Downing Street's response? Not that we know of. Yeah, that was the response of our leadership in this country. And then, when the Met Commissioner for the police was approached about it, he said that laws probably need redrawing in terms of hate crime. This is the response of our leadership in Britain. You've got Downing Street saying that they have no plans to do anything about it. Or you've got the Home Secretary saying, or basically mirroring the concerns of the public. And then you've got the Met Commissioner turning around and saying, well, we probably need to do something about it. This is the attitude. Are they supposed to inspire confidence in us? We have got extremists in our capital openly calling for jihad. And we've got our authorities tiptoeing around each other saying, yes, maybe we need to do this and maybe we need to do that, or we're not sure if we should do anything. This is a joke of the highest order. It would be funny if it wasn't so dangerous. Now, the police have been subjected for some time to woke ideology, which has, in my opinion, turned them into an ineffective entity, which is paralysed from doing their job effectively. Fears of being called racist, fears of being accused of Islamophobia, or fears of this and that. And it seems that the police are unable to do what they are there to do, which is to protect the British public. And if you've got the powers that be who are making these laws, restricting them from doing what needs to be done, then what kind of situation do we actually have in this country? Under no circumstances is it ever acceptable for extremists to chant in Britain for Jihad, which is a call to destroy those who do not adhere to the same beliefs as you do. This is totally unacceptable. Every single one of them should have been arrested, and the law should have been applied to them in the correct way. The force of the law should be applied to them in the correct way. For the police to issue such a statement is not only a complete and utter disgrace to Britain, it is a total betrayal of the British people. It is a betrayal of us, because they are effectively turning around to us and saying, these people can threaten you, and we just give them the green light to do it. And then we have our government turning around and saying we have no plans to change it. That is the reality of what has happened today. It's an absolute horror show. So what we are doing is we are showing those who would have no qualms about harming us that they are at liberty to do it. Now, we are a free and a tolerant country, but there has to be a line drawn in just how tolerant we are.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.